Bill 326, picking up from the last episode,
Yes.
an amendment to alleviate some of the heartburn many of the members of the committee had. If it's okay, I'd like to offer up that amendment, or,
Yes.
and members, the amendment on page 3, line 4, changes $50 to $35.
Might raise $300,000 or $400,000.
All right, that's all I have. At the right time, I'll move favorably.
And yes, with the amendment, sir, we would be able to operate for several years.
Madam Chair, look, I'm in favor of the bill. I just have a question on last time. They talked about some guy, I can't remember who he was, came up and said when he checked the fund balance, it was 1.5 or 1.6 million. Do you have a savings account or a fund balance of 1.5 million is what I need to know?
Yes, sir.
That's over and above your ordinary business expenses of 1.5 million a year.
No, sir. That is the amount of money. We have $1.5 million available in the bank. We receive our money each day, birthdays. They send in their money on their birthday. And so, at the first of the year, we don't receive an amount of money to be budgeted through that year. We receive our money each day and we pay out money each day. So if we can remain constant at the 1.5, then we do have an amount of money to make it through 1 year. But so
I just couldn't figure out how he went to your site and saw 1.5 million.
Also state that I'm a former bank examiner. I am an inactive CPA with the Board of CPA certificate number 19967. I have been a CPA for 35 years, and and the numbers I'm about to give you come directly off the legislative auditor's website.
probably looked at the
Operating revenue.
CPA, at the CPA report at the end of the year. And we always do a budget at the end of the year, and that would show how much was
Yeah.
at the end of the
As long as you don't have 1.5 million in a separate savings account, apart from your revenue, I'm
They do
good.
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
And the cost is about $32,000 to put in a digital system for postage and all of that. They can't afford that. So that would probably,
The figures that were estimated for the new system, the server and the software, where did that, I'm just curious, because when is the LSBC licensing software 700,000, is that a known amount based on an estimate, or is that just a guesstimate?
That is an amount that was put together by several estimates that have been attained. It's probably an
okay.
extremely low number, because now everything is so much more expensive to put in a total new system. And ours is 20 or 30 years
Yeah,
old.
that was kind of. But can I ask you something in that direction? I know you all turn an audit in, and you referenced the CPA.
Correct.
Have you ever had a performance audit done to look at how to increase efficiency, or what the need is actually precisely financially that you all look, because right now, I think part of the problem we had, and I'm not just speaking for myself, was that there wasn't a lot of clarity of what you actually needed coming in. It was just that you hadn't had, an increase in so long that I think what's missing in the questions and the answers is some clarity on where are you trying to go with this money besides fixing things in the software in order to be an efficiently run board. And I would recommend that. I mean, the Auditor Wagaspack is fabulous with that, and he could give some really good avenues on how to be most efficient with the money you've got coming in, and to look at the way it's been done that hasn't really worked in your favor. So.
Correct.
The repairs are over $1 million
Yeah.
that you've estimated.
Yes, sir.
You're going to,
Reverend Freddie Phillips, for the records. Okay, I didn't catch all of it, but at the House side, I asked for numbers. I heard Senator Abraham mention, some of the numbers, the bid process, all the information that's pertinent to approving a financial amount of money for whatever they needs to do. I'm not opposing that, but I'm opposing the process that it's almost like writing a blind check without having the information for where the money is going to be allocated and what it's going to be used for. So look at, the situations at hand where this board has fought revenue that could have very well been utilized to increase their financial position to be able to make these repairs without coming before this committee. They fought the hair braiding bill. That was $157,000 that in legal fees that they utilized, and then comes back and says, okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to let this pass. They fought against Nelda Darrell School, a school that was making it feasible for more more cosmetologists to enter the field. I heard Senator Butler the last time said that, Representative Butler said that the cost of tuition for cosmetologists, $35,000 to $40,000. Nelda Darrell School was only $8,000.
They say that we're supposed to have videos. If the student don't get in the textbook, they get it in the videos.
Okay, and so this is the main classroom, correct?
That is our study hall. We have 2 large classrooms in the back, which the state board Title 46 says that it has to be 400 square feet. And so those 2 classrooms are in the back, and I'll walk you back there.
That'll be.
This is the clinic floor,
Okay.
which is required by state board. You have 40 stations, and that's what state board prescribed, that you have to have 40 stations, and these are the 40 stations.
Well, and let me ask you this. You've been shut down for quite a while now, am I correct?
Since April the 13th, 2016.
You got the exact date,
Yes,
April
yes.
the 13th of 2016.
Exactly.
We're filming this in July of 2017.
Exactly.
So for 14 months,
Exactly.
all of this has
Yeah.
sat idle, and you've had
Exactly.
to pay lease on this
I've
building.
had to pay lease, utilities, water bill,
Wow.
because I knew that this was like Ms. Brentley said, this was a tragedy that was done.
And she was allowing students to come in and pay on a payment plan. This is opportunities where they could have gotten more people enrolled into the cosmetology field, but they fought against it. They spent $50,000 fighting against her. They also tried to shut down Renetta Frazier School, which was a public school that was given the opportunity for these people to go to school and eventually get into the field.
I thought maybe, I didn't know I was in violation until this year when I received something saying in 30 days you have to have another instructor. That wasn't something because it's not a private school. I can just hire somebody. I can't hire or fire anybody. So when I brought it up, it was like they would rather get rid of the program to tell them that you need to hire an instructor just to oversee. Well, you need to hire another instructor for me to oversee, I guess. I don't know what they're going to do about that. So come August, I don't know if they're going to shut the program down or whatever. And she was willing to substitute as well. She's a licensed instructor as well, but I don't even really know what to do. I don't know if you're going to close the program down or.
Both of these schools were, minority schools that they shut down. $40,000 up front is a lot of money. $8,000 is significant lower. You know how many people who would take that opportunity to go to a school for $8,000 versus a school for $40,000? And they shut this school down. That was providing an adequate education to reduce the barriers of entry financially into this profession. So they fought against a lot of opportunities for economic development and growth. Mississippi, she talked about Texas. Representative Butler talked about Texas and the costs that she had to go over there and get things done. But Mississippi has 7,000 braiders, generating between $125,000 to $140,000 a year. That could have been utilized in supplementing of their budgets. They have fought against every opportunity to bring in gainful employment, but have reduced it, and they want to bring it to this committee for approval. What I'm looking at is, at the end of the day, you said, and I heard $750,000, over $1 million worth of repairs. In a desperate need, which with $1.6 million, the budget numbers don't lie. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's appropriate, as what Senator Mazel said, that they should have sought some type of management program to help them to regulate their body of what they were doing. Their businesses is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but yet they want to come to this committee and get you all to pass something that's, to me, not necessary. They need, and I've been saying that from the House side to this side. I've been asking for numbers. I have a certification in contracting. I use one of the most sophisticated exact mate programs out there. I know what estimation is supposed to look like. And I have a lot of other certifications, but at the end of the day, I'm appalled that we come and, again, we ask for the vital information, and they come with subsequent information that does not really relate to what the questions. I applaud you, Senator, for being so detailed and wanting to know. Same thing with Senator Connick and everybody else who've asked these committee board members about what they're going to do with the money. They're not given a clear-cut answer. It's still out there in the sky that there's no clarification to where this money is going to be used. And $750 for $750,000, excuse me, for a software upgrade. Come on, the state with the school system, we get computers from the state all the time that are adequately able to go in and do whatever you need done. This is a state agency. They didn't explore all the avenues. I'm very much aware of technology. I have a scholarship to Bellingham School one time, so I know about electronics. But you're not going to come tell me that $750,000 is needed for a computer upgrade. I mean, these numbers seem to be inflated, and then there's no verification, because I would have got 4 or 5 quotes from various software companies to see who was competitive, who was going to offer the better deal.
But I think where we are now is that we've been given the information we requested from the board, and, we've addressed the concerns in a diplomatic way, I guess, between what the ask was and what we feel would be justified in supporting what we think is the need that has been given to us. So I just want to, I appreciate you coming in. I mean, I know you've been here 2 weeks. God bless you. So, but I mean, we have a motion to move the bill forward.
But my emphasis was not on the hair braiding. My emphasis was on this board has not done everything it could to generate revenue. They've done everything they could to fight revenue. Nelda the Rail School and all these other things that would have generated that they fought against. Nelda the Rail School is only $8,000 a year. I mean, for the course. That's what Representative Butler said, $35,000 to $40,000. If I'm going into the profession, I'm going to where I can pay $8,000. And then she took payment plans. What I'm saying is the barrier of entry was reduced by giving opportunities for those who could not afford to go to a $35,000 or $40,000 a year school. So you shut this school down, so now you shut down more opportunities for people to enter this profession. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is very clear. You spend $150,000, $57,000 fighting, you're spending $50,000 shutting down this school. Mm-hmm. So what I'm suggesting is they have not taken drastic measures to build up this profession, but they have been very adamant about preventing people from being in a profession that would generate income. And that was my argument from when I got up here, is that they've not done everything that they're supposed to do. And I understand you could move this bill forward, but this board has not taken the necessary steps professionally to do what they should have done. And they're fighting against, when I came before, 7 years ago, I fought for to break down the barrier of entry. $8,000 is feasible. And a lot of people can afford that over $45,000 or $40,000. But at the end of the day, Senator, they shut it down. So that's an advocate against the thing that could have helped them.
Right. And I appreciate that, and I think that's something that we need to look at and address, but.
This is public records. I mean,
Right, no, and I appreciate it, but thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Any questions before I get out?
No questions, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And we have in opposition Robert Burns, President, wishing to speak. Previously at the table, it was Kawan Wade. We got your card. Thank you, dear. Mr. Burns.
Good morning once again. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. And as I introduced myself last time, I am Robert Burns. I founded the video blog Sound Off Louisiana. What last week's hearing remains as the homepage, and I will tell you it's gotten quite a bit of attention, quite a bit of traction. So captured all of the pertinent comments of Senator Connick and those of Senator Bowie. I do want to say one thing. I'm glad that Senator Abraham brought out the fact that there was a $40,000 profit. It was a struggle to get that out of Mr. Young last time when Senator Bowie asked him for a simple question of what are the revenues and what are the expenses. He readily said 1.75 million on the revenues, but he really struggled on those expenses, and he uttered the word 60,000. Nobody believes their expenses were 60,000. I don't believe he wanted to utter the word profit. Thank you, Senator Abraham, for uttering it. And I want to emphasize one thing. As I said, I am a CPA. I've held that certification for 35 years. I'm also a former bank examiner. I know how to analyze financial statements. It's what I did. And I have analyzed thousands upon thousands of them. Most of you would say that's a very boring job, and for the most part it is. But somebody's got to do it. So I want to point out one thing. Those audited figures from June 30th of 2024, just as you indicated, there was some non-operating revenue. That's also where the lion's share of the litigation expenses pertaining to the braiding bill took place. Just like you may not have that revenue going forward, hopefully they won't have those expenses going forward because they would have to be sued again. Because if you look, when I said the CPA firm was bragging on the performance of this, if you go and look at one of the footnotes, it says there's no outstanding litigation. It's the first time in 6 years they could say that. So they don't have to form a contingency for there wasn't going to be a loss because it was not for damages. That's why the defense costs were not covered. But for the first time, they're not going to have those litigation expenses. So I would argue that the arguments that are being made from a liquidity standpoint, not from a profitability standpoint. Last time he said that they did not have $1.6 million stored away in a bank that could be utilized for what they're wanting to do. It absolutely is stored away in a bank, and there are no restrictions on it. If a CPA, if there were restrictions on account, a CPA has to itemize that. Furthermore, if the financial picture were even remotely as bleak as he led you to believe last week, the CPAs would have had to issue a paragraph right below the unqualified opinion saying that we have severe reservations about this entity's ability to continue as a going concern. That is a requirement. That is not in there. It's not there. So I would say that the doom and gloom that was portrayed to you last week was grossly exaggerated, and I don't believe exists. Now, I want to just read one thing, and I will not be but a few seconds on this. This is not me. I want to emphasize this. This is a gentleman that I have an awful lot of respect for. I told y'all I get a ton of complaints about this board, and I do. Every now and then you get one from somebody who's willing to go public. This is from Chris Guidry, who is a prominent cosmetologist in the New Orleans area. He published what I'm about to read on a cosmetology trade publication. He also showed up at a cosmetology board meeting and he read them the riot act. 1 second.
Look, excuse me. Let me make. I'm going to ask our attorney. Can you play a third party at the table? Yeah, we don't even give out statements in paper without approval.
Okay.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled Senate testimony before the Commerce Committee to read you this very special statement by cosmetologist Chris Guidry. Our board only makes sure that our Cosmo license is up to date. Basically, State Board is a straight money grab. They have no respect for the guest or the craft. It's disgusting. We'll provide the link. We now return you to our regular Senate Commerce Committee testimony of Wednesday, May 21st, 2025.
Okay, well, it's posted prominently out there.
Yeah, if you
It's
wanna-
not very flattering of the board.
Right.
In fact, it's quite unflattering. I will tell you that it's referenced that board as a straight-up money grab, and that's how I'll conclude my testimony. I believe this is a straight-up money grab. It's
Okay, so we've been going around the rosy on this thing. So you're telling me that they have unencumbered, not used for operating revenue, $1.5 million set aside in a separate account?
That's what was on the June 30th, 2024 audited financial statements. I don't have their current ones, but Ms. Morris admitted last time that the approximate balance was 1.5 million. There are no restrictions on that cash.
All right, thank you.
The fund balance as a CPA is separate and distinct from, and that's why I stressed they're clearly focusing on nothing but liquidity. But even under a liquidity standpoint, they have over a full year of operating expenses by their own testimony sitting in the bank that is readily available. Now we're going to look at, and I'm going to just say one last thing. I have him on video as saying, oh, this ought to cost between $250,000 and $300,000. We referenced those figures when we were here last week. It would seem to me if you're going to come before a body like this and have credibility, you would have solid numbers. Now, all of a sudden, a week later, that 250 to 300 is inflated to what now, $1 million, and the other one 700,000? I'm a little suspicious.
They really didn't know what the numbers were at the time, so that's why.
Yes, and I would submit that coming before this committee asking for something like that, you ought to have the numbers.
I agree.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to seem
No,
terse.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I know they're out of order, but I've got two cards in support. Present not wishing to speak, Randy and Ryan Haney from the Neal Corporation. Present would like to speak, Jean Petrie with the Cosmetology Training Center.
And I do, for the record, want to report I quoted wrong on the amount of the tuition, that I think I had said it was up to $35,000. I think it's, somebody quote me, 17? 25. Yeah, 15 to 25. So I do want to, I want to correct that. And I move favorably.
I just want to repeat again that it would do you all a service to have the auditor come in and do a performance audit so that you can stand by your numbers and have more confidence in the people who are looking at your numbers.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
We will do that. Appreciate
Thank you.
y'all.
We have a motion on the board from Senator Connick to move, HB 326 favorable? As amended? Without objection, HB 326 is moved as amended.